Hi everyone, Hussein is here from HDM Solar and Electrical. Today I want to go for part 2 of switchboard protective devices. This video is dedicated for repairing the fuse and what you will see inside your switchboard. If you still have the old switchboard that has not been upgraded to the new protective devices, you will see the old fuses inside of it. As it shows in this picture, you may see the white type, which is ceramic base, different size a little bit. The base, as you see, is the same. The part actually can be detached a little bit different based on the brand and the capacity perhaps. And the black type, which is plastic. The difference between this type and this one is that this type usually is rewirable, so you can get the replacement wire from the wholesaler or the bunding and you can rewire it, which I can show you later. This one actually you cannot. You have to remove the cartridge inside of it, and based on the current rating of that, you get the proper replacement from the wholesaler, which we talk about it later today. What you see in here is called main switch. It's actually 3-phase. So the switch looks a little bit bigger. Make sure before starting any kind of work inside the switchboard, you are safe by turning this off. I'm going to show you another example. This is actually the same scenario. Half of the board has been somehow upgraded, the other half it's not. As you see, the old fuses are still there. Spare wire to repair the fuse, and so on. Also, in this one, you will see still the old fuses. One of them has been replaced by a circuit breaker, and this is the main switch for this board per se. As you see, the smaller, and that's a single phase. So one of the things that you need to identify before working on the switchboard is to make sure where the main switch is, and before repairing any of these fuses you need to turn that one off for your own safety. Based on the type of the switchboard or how old is your building is, you may see whether this type, plastic, black one, which is a cartridge type, or the ceramic white one, which you can rewire, or even combination of both. So if you are replacing or repairing these kind of fuses that you have inside the switchboard, what you need to know is that this is not rewirable. That means you have to replace this part completely. So after you figure out that the problem is blown fuse, you have to take this one off. It's a little bit hard to take off anyway. Then you remove this replaceable section, take the old one, including that, with you to the wholesaler, ask them to give you the new one, so they can have a look at this one, and based on the current rating of this, they can give you the new one, so you can make sure also it's the same shape and the size, and you can slide it back in. What you need to know also is that if you do not turn off the entire power inside the switchboard, and while everything is connected, you just decided to pull this one out, one of these two metal sections, either top or the bottom, is live. That means if you touch them, you're gonna get electrocuted. So I highly recommend you to turn off the entire power, and never works on the live circuit, because that's risky and dangerous. And you can do that simply by turning off the main switch inside the switchboard. So after replacing is done, make sure the power is off. one of the reason also I tell you to turn the power off is that when the power is not off and all the appliances connected to this circuit are actually plugged in and they have been on before the switch is blown, when you try to put that one back in, you feel and see the sparks. So you better avoid that, whether to turn off and unplug all the appliances connected to that circuit or simply just turn off the entire power, and then when everything is done you can turn it back on. If you press it like this, everything is good to go. For this type is the same. The difference is you can actually wire it up again by yourself. What you need to know, the same as this one, and all the type, as you see, it says 20 amp on top of here. So what you need to know is that whether it's 8 amp for lighting like this one or it's 16 amp for this one, there is no difference whatsoever about the design and the shape of them, so they can easily, they are interchangeable. But the point is, if you by mistake, for example, connect the lighting one to the circuit, it's gonna blow much sooner than you can expect it, and you think maybe something is wrong with the circuit, which is not. Or the other way around, if you put the power one on the lighting circuit, it's not gonna protect the circuit, because it has to trip the circuit or blow the fuse at about 8 amp or 10 amp, but it doesn't, simply because you used the wrong one in that one. So you need to make sure exactly what kind of circuit is connected via the back of the base and what kind of circuit, in fact, this fuse, the whole unit, is protecting. So when you realize that for sure, that for example this one is for power, then you install the wire which is proper for the power circuit. If it's for light, you make sure you use the right wire for the light. Keep that in mind. Sometimes the specification written on the board or on the fuse is not accurate. Since I told you already that are interchangeable, they may use the power circuit connected to the one says 10, or for this example, for example, the light which is 8 amp connected to the base which is written 16. So that's why I emphasize to make sure that everything is what you think it is. So make sure if the circuit is, for example, for the light, and make sure everything that you are using is for the light circuit. So what you can do for that is quite simple. This one is not blown, so there is no point to use it again. What you need to know is that in order to replace it, just lose the screw on the top, not too much, lose the screw on the bottom, not too much, untie the cable and take it out. It's very simple, very simple. Okay, so again, you take the about 100 mil or even less than that from proper wiring size. If it's for lighting, you use the top one. If it's for power, for the bottom one, you get one of those from the wholesaler, probably Bunning. And then you pass through the gap, as you see in here. Goes through one side, comes from the other side. Then the screw is loose. Make sure you don't loose it too much, as I said. And then turn it one, and then probably twice. One is the least. And then just screw it back in. Make sure the wire is not too tight. Which in this case it is. Simply because these parts are a little bit loose, so they can sit properly inside the base. When you tighten the wire too much, you actually limit the space that they can maneuver. So if they have to, they apply more force on the wire, and there's a chance when you slide it back in, you actually torn the wire. So let's not do that. And if there's an excess, you can just cut it with the pliers, or you can simply do like that. And then you can slide it back in. The same scenario, turn the power off. Do not touch anything if the power is not off. Turn all the appliances off if the power is not off, just to avoid any spark, which is not good. Also, one of the easiest solution is to replace that one that you have to wire it every time with something like this. Okay, I have one of the old ones still in the box. That one is HP as well. This one, for example, is 32 amp, so it's too much. You cannot use that. Even that one you cannot use it for the light because it's 20 amp. But you get the proper size based on the wiring, based on your information, which has to be 100% correct, that what circuit is connected to the base. Then you get the proper size rating of that one, and all you need to do is just slide it back in. So every time fuse blown, what you need to do is just strip it back on. It gives you some indication there is no wiring involved, and you're good to go. So that's how you can repair the fuse if you have a steel in your switchboard. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any question, feel free to leave me a comment or contact me directly through the website, Facebook page, Instagram, or the email.